and you want to organize, because when you have got the details, you need to organize them into a index. So the index concept I have explained. If anybody has any doubt about the index concept, you can ask me when we talk about the index, how a file is stored. Let us talk about how the file is stored. Okay, so then only you can have a feel key what is the role of a index, and that index is to be maintained by the hash table. So simple sequential file. Suppose you want to create a sequential file in disk. Okay, so sequential file when we are creating a disk, and that also has two parts. One is called index, another is the location where the actually records are stored. So how the record, I mean, what is that address area? If you look into a direct access storage device, what is that address where a particular record is to be stored? Any idea? Yes, if you are looking for a direct access storage device, I mean a hard disk. Is it a addressable memory? Yes. Is it a addressable memory? Hello. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes,
Is it
sir.
a addressable is it a addressable memory? Is it a addressable memory? Your hard disk is addressable memory or not? Because if I yes or no, answer is yes, because you see. So then my next question is, what is that address? Just like your main memory, maybe every word has got a unique address. So secondary disk is also a addressable memory. Okay, where every location or the single unit where we can store the information has a address. So what I try to explain, when we are saying a particular student record is to be stored, it goes to the a particular address. When we are explaining that the hash function maps to a roll number to a address, or a key space to the address space, key space to the address space. So what is the address? You never heard of that addressing mechanism in secondary storage? Yes or no? Have you heard of address mechanism in secondary storage? Okay, it's very simple. It's very simple. Uh, I'm pasting a figure. Please have a look into that. A hard disk has number of platters. Is it visible? Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. This is one platter. Suppose and in case of hard disk, we have number of platters, and there are two surface where we can read and write. So it is a stack of disk connected to a single spindle, or we have a concept of that that all the concentric circles that falls into one unit. So this is first, you see every surface has got a read write head. These read write heads are not the heads like gramophone disc. It is a floating head. It works on a principle of the magnetic flux or a charge type of device. Whenever the power went out, the head is crashed to the disk surface. Maybe we have a fixed landing zone where the head has to rest. Okay. Now you look into that. What is the address? If you look into a single surface, let us say I have to suppose store a particular record. Look into what is a single addressable unit. Here you just guess. There are number of track. So it can be track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4, start from track 0. That is one. Second, From track, you are coming to a particular sector. If I number the sector like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so these lines are indicating you can name the sectors. So you can see, then from the sector, you are looking into a particular area. You are finding within the violet, there is a red color mark. Is it visible? And something is written there called track sector. Got it? Track sector. If I say store the information at the track number 3 and sector number 4, you can do that. Okay, so that is the address area. Now, what is the capacity of that particular block? Maybe it is 64K, 128K, maybe 256, maybe 1 KB. So it is depending on the type of disk. So is that particular location is going to store the whole record? Suppose you have to store 64 kilobyte, or let us say very simple, 10 kilobyte. Your record size is 10 kilobyte. The student information is 10 kilobyte, and it starts with a roll number. So you prepared a index that is on the hash table. It's a logical mechanism. Again, I am saying when you got the roll number, your roll number is translated to an address. That means your read-write head will be positioned at the beginning of a specific track and a specific sector. Then only you can read. Got it? Then only you can read, because that information has to move. Now imagine you have, and again I say there is a violet area which is a sector, and within that a particular pink area, which is deep pink, you can say, mixing of your pink and violet, that is the single addressable unit. Let us assume that capacity is 64K. Okay, your record size is 10K. So how many records you can store there? 6 record. Okay, so 6 records you are storing there. Is not it looks like that I am talking of a hash table with 6 slots with a single address? Are you getting me? All the 6 record goes to one address. Okay, all the 6 records goes to one address. If I know my record size is 10K and my address, I mean the single location is capacity of 64K. So I will design a hash table of how many slots? 6 slots per address. Okay, now come to the B plus tree or B tree. Maybe you know about B tree or B plus tree. B tree, how we define? It's a B tree. What is the definition? When I say B tree, it's not a complete one. B tree of order. Okay, got it. Binary tree is the B tree of order 2. Clear? Binary tree is a B tree of order 2 because a particular node has maximum 2 children. Right? So if I say B tree of order 3, B3, or sometimes we talk about B plus 3, we study in the database that is used as a index structure. So that is also takes the similar view. If I am going to design an index, I have many choices. I can go for a sequential file or like an array. I can go for a B tree. I can go for a B plus tree. So when we decide B tree or B plus tree, this order of B tree or B plus tree is decided based on this capacity, that a single address location if capable of storing 6 records, then I'll be selecting B tree of order 6 as my index structure. Okay, so how it will be useful? B tree, any of you remember?
Yes,
have you studied B tree? Huh?
Yes,
when I say B tree is the index structure, how you can explain B tree as an index? I'm talking of a indexed file. Okay, I'm talking of a indexed file. Whenever I try to search the detail about a student, the student detail information is stored actually in this disk area. Okay, which is a single addressable. Okay, but when I am searching a student, how I search a student? I search through the roll number. Let us say I have used a 6-way B tree. How many comparison it is required? Suppose I have 50 records, and I want to prove that B tree is less capable in it is slow in comparison to the hashing. How can I prove that? B tree, how much time it will say? Where the informations are available in B tree? Where the informations are available? Yeah. Yes.
Every node.
The address. Yes, sir. In each node, there are n number of address child pointers, sir. Those map to any address, required address.
No, you are still not
Sir, in
getting.
the leaf
Actually,
nodes.
yes, very good. The details are available with the leaf nodes. Very good.
Sir, it is in B plus tree, na?
Yes, sir. That is in B plus tree, sir. In
Yes,
No.
sir. In B plus tree, the
Yes. So what is the difference between B and B plus?
Sir, in B plus tree we have all the information in the leaf nodes, whereas in
Yes.
the B tree we have information at each node, or each level.
Each label we have the information only about the particular range actually. When we say, I, I'm just showing you a B tree of order 5. Okay, I'm showing you a B tree of order 5, but you say ki this informations are there. So this is just an example. That's why you say ki B tree is carrying that much of information. Let me show you the details. Maybe you have something understanding. You come through certain material and you say like that. Okay, I'll take just 1 minute. Because one computer science student has need to understood what is the index actually. Yeah, are you finding something on your screen? Yes.
sir.
So what is this? What is this? B tree or B plus tree?
B tree, sir.
You see,
B
this
plus tree.
okay. Let me clarify.
B plus tree.
It facilitates us searching, but detail about. Suppose I want to store your roll number and the name. Okay. So where I'll store your roll number and the name. These range is 31, 60 is helps me to search. If I am searching for a roll number 5, it will redirect me to the left. Agreed? I am searching for a student whose roll number is 5. So it redirect me to left. Agreed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then I land here, I found that 11. Then it redirect me to
Left.
And here you have stored what you have stored. These values at the intermediate nodes are only guiding me to search. Okay, now look into this area. There are 4 blocks are there, 1, 2, 8, 6, 10. And what are they? This is example. Always you see, this is the I don't I wish to say one very hard word. You please listen, and one day you will realize I cannot teach anybody data structure to anybody who is not a computer science student. And I am a critic of the people who say that data structure can be taught to anybody. So they push it in the first semester. I say I cannot touch. I teach data structure. If you look into that, I used to take 80 classes on data structure, teach for 15 years. And when the people start doing this will go to BTech, I say goodbye. I'll not teach. They are spoiling a good community, computer science community by teaching. Okay, let us clarify. What is this 1, 2, 8, 10? What is this? Yes, now you come to that. I am talking. This is
Key
a key
value.
value. But along with the key value, you have to store a address, right? Let us assume that this particular single field, which is 1, 2, 8, 10, along with that you have a address. And now you are in a position to justify why it is 4, because the single location in the hard disk is capable of storing detail about 4 information. Got it? Okay. Now this information, this 1 to 8, 10, whatever the information is there, suppose you are looking for the details of the student with roll number 2. Okay, first it detail of the student roll number 5. How you conclude? it is not available in the picture, right? I am looking for a student number 5, roll number 5. So what is your conclusion? You come to 31, then you go to this particular second level node, then you come to last node, right? Can you explain this thing, how this searching takes place
Yes,
in
sir.
memory? Can you say it's a searching takes place in memory? Please listen. When from 11, I am coming to this last block. Look that I cannot perform any operation without loading the information to main memory. We use the picture to explain the people, but how it happens in computer? Everybody is silent. Books are silent. You see, these block actually 1285, this information to be loaded to the main memory, and only that when the data is loaded to the main memory, I can search there, I can compare. Got it? So this last block, whatever the things are written, 1, 2, 8, 10 is loaded to the main memory, and it's a linear memory. If it is loaded to 1 to 8, sorry, I mean it's a memory. I told you that every location there is a constant access time or average access time in main memory is constant. So I load 1 to 8, 10. Now I want to perform a successful search or unsuccessful search. I search for the 5 and I could not find 5 is there. Even if I am doing a successful search, it will take that much of time, which will be same as the unsuccessful search, because the searching takes place in the semiconductor memory. Now, let us come to the successful search. Suppose I am looking for the details about the student with roll number 2, that is his name, its parent address, marks secured, etc., etc., etc. So this block information what you are finding loaded to the main memory. First I found 2. Imagine that instead of a single field, there are 2 fields. One is roll number, second is the address at which it's stored in the disk, right? It's stored in the disk. First the searching takes place in the index, okay? Then your control goes, commands your read write head to be positioned into that cylinder. Okay, why I say cylinder? Because it is rotating. First, the read write head is placed on a cylinder, because there are a number of platters and you have concentric circles. You can take the help of your Google to find out what is a cylinder. Okay, what is a cylinder? So that all the concentric circles, they are representing a cylinder on a disk. So these heads are actually are your, what you can say, this is fitted to a single spindle, and simultaneously it is capable of reading or positioning themselves in a track. So then another index is used, because there are number of platters. So we use the surface. Okay, I share one more picture, maybe this is the best way to explain how the index is used. Otherwise, B-tree will be B-tree in the book, and you do insertion, deletion, and happy with that. Okay, I am able to solve a problem. Now look into that. It exactly look like this. And if you look into the number of disk, there are 3 platters. 3 platters. How many heads will be there? Head 0, head 1 on disk 1. Head 0, head 1 in disk 2, and the bottom one I call it as a disk 3, when the bottom part is not to be used and the top part is to be used. Okay, and you see it is connected to a single spindle. So my single, when I try to position a read write head, it positioned into a same track on all the surface. That is the logical unit. We call it as a cylinder. Now, suppose you want to store a B-tree and your memory is enough, you capable of reading the whole data on a track to your main memory. So the total addressable space, total addressable location, instead of a single sector, single track sector, it can be whole cylinder also. It depends on what type of design you select. So if you are looking for the roll number 2, it returns you the address. That address will be definitely the address, because you are not storing one record to that location. So you got this address, this read write head will be activated, it positions himself to the cylinder. Then that particular sector will come under the read write head. You read that block of information to the main memory. Then again there is a comparison. Is it true? If I'm looking for the information about roll number 2 and you compare with that information of roll number 2, if it is there, that information is displayed. So the nutshell what I try to say, when you talk about the B tree or B plus tree, this is also a index structure. When I try to create a file, actually we are not going to search the file. We are not going to search the file itself. First we search in an index. Okay, another thing, when any of you have created the table or the database, when you are selecting a primary key, like I told you in the last class, if you are creating a primary key using roll number and Aadhaar number, let us say, then how many index is possible? Information stored at one place. So you can create two index. One index, somebody tried to search using Aadhaar number, he will open one more index. If somebody tried to search using roll number, he will open another index. Now look into that. This is something like that. You have a lab record. You have a lab record. You have to write down the 20 experiments. If you open a lab record page, you have a index. First page. Let us say you have given only one page index and the maximum you can store how many records? 20 records. Say. So you can write 20 experiment. So choice is yours. You may write the first experiment at page number 21 up to page number 30. First experiment, not necessarily you are going to write in the page number 1 onwards. Is it clear? So what is that index in your lab notebook? What is that index in the lab notebook? That is, no. What is the index structure? That is a linear array, because the index which appears on your notebook is a linear array. Suppose I say I want to search for experiment. What you did? You start from the first, compare first, read one. Okay, you are looking for a particular experiment in. So you are how you are searching? You are searching sequentially. So that is the index linear array. Okay, maybe after writing all your experiment, you used to write index using pencil. Your lab record is complete. You erase the index. Then alphabetically all the experiment which starts with A, B, analysis of the spectroscope, the design of something. So you have now 20 experiment. So you sort them. And instead of writing the index, I mean the day on which you are, you ordered them in the order at which you have conducted, you just sort them. Alphabetically you prepare the index. Any experiment starts with A appears first. Any experiment starts with the title B followed next. Then what type of search you can do there?
Binary.
You can use the two things. You can do binary. Listen, please listen. You can do binary as well as you can do linear. Remember this thing. Okay. When I am storing the index in the array, and definitely that is a representation of sorted. So I can perform binary search. Also, I can perform linear search. Agreed or not? Now, instead of doing that in binary, that index you try to do it with B plus tree, or that index you try to do with hash table. Okay. Now, you have been asked, your lab class has started. You have been asked, your teacher told you, tear down the index page. Got it? Every student should tear down the index page. Okay. He developed a mechanism that your experiment, they develop a code like this. When all the experiments of physics, chemistry, biology, all you are writing into one record. Okay, so we start with physics experiment starts with 1, chemistry experiment starts with 2, biology experiment starts with 3. A mechanism, a code is developed. First digit corresponds to the subject, second digit corresponds the date on which it is conducted, and first field is the subject, second is the date. That means we are using 6 fields, and after that there is a teacher name which is 2-digit alphabet. Got it? all these are numeric, last 2 digit is in. And there is a protocol which is known to your teacher and students, and that you design a mechanism. When somebody say I want to search this experiment, so there is a manipulation. Okay, and I will manipulate that particular key value, and I can directly generate a page number that where I have to go. I don't know what will be the hash function, but this is the choice of the designer. And from this coded number, experiment number, nowhere it is written. This code means that it is only on a documentation with you, and you are developing a hash function. That hash function to know, hash function is known to all teachers and all students, and you transform that, and the teacher will open directly that page, and he can check the experiment. I told from the beginning, the index page is being, you are being asked to damage or tear down that index page. This is the hashing. Got it? Maybe I'll ask your roll number. Maybe a particular student told me the roll number, and and it is known to all NIT community that if a student roll number is like this, and we did hostel allotment based on that, maybe let us say roll number is 1590. Somebody is having 1590, and it is known to all students. So somebody tried to meet the roll number 1590. What you remember? You didn't remember anything. You remember that function. Okay, 1590, and she stays in hall number 1, 5th floor, room number 90. Do I need an index? Are you getting? I can directly transform the particular key value to the address, and that using that function, that student is allotted to the hostel, and now whoever coming for the searching or whoever comes, visitor comes, ask your security person, he know that hash function. Yes, he will be, he or she will be simply asked what is the roll number of the students. Looking into the roll number of the students, he will and he will say, okay, you go to the hall number 1 and you directly go to the 5th floor and room number 90. Or maybe in hostel gate you have a provision, if a visitor comes, immediately a message goes, call the person in the 5th floor with room number 90. So this is the hash function. But interestingly, when it is explained, people thought I should learn this much, and there is a collision resolution technique, and so there are cases where hash table is created, and there are the cases where there is no table is created. Directly the primary key or the keys are used, and it directly mapped to the storage space. Maybe it is a disk, maybe it is a hostel, maybe it is the allotment of the lab seats to the students, maybe a allotment during the suppose there is a function like convocation, you want to go for allotment, you have got 800 seats, people have registered, and you did the allotment. Okay, so and if for searching, if you want to refer something, then it will be recorded like hash table can be created. If it is possible that you don't have to refer, directly you can jump to that address, as I say about the hostel, then no table creation is required. Now, before we map to the hard disk, if you look into the secondary storage, we are using different type of hard disk, and when we are storing the record, that's why we need an index like a table, like hash table, where we store two information. When we are discussing about the only primary key 89, but actually along with 89, I have to store the address. So that address is stored along with the key number, so that if you are searching for 89, you will come to that location 9 in the index table, and from 89 you pick up the address and you go to this location to read the information. There are two things. Okay, so that is, and if you are using this hashing technology to design an index for a file, then that is known as your direct file organization. Okay, that is direct or random file organization. Please spend some time to read what is a direct file organization, what is the indexed file organization, and this index, either your B plus tree and others, are discussed in the database because all the database are designed like an index. But if you look for a faster search, the only alternative is the hash. Okay. Now we were in the collision resolution technique. So if you are looking into the collision resolution technique, and I explained you something called clustering effect. Clustering effect, again I repeat, you try to store something, let us say 21, 31, 41, 51. Whenever you try to store 21, you place it at the location number 1. Whenever you try to store 11, you experience a collision, you store them at the location number 2. And when you try to store 31, again you are finding 1 is occupied, then you apply linear probing, go to the location number 2, 2 is also occupied, so you store it at the 3. But when this type of keys, I mean synonymous, will be the more, and you'll be finding to store a particular key, you have to try 5 or 6 times. And the number of times you try to store the key, that is directly proportional to retrieval also. Suppose you store 69, 61 after 11, 21, 31, 41, then you imagine there are 5 comparisons are required even after the retrieval. Because when you try to search 61, you are using a hash function that will map to the location number 1, which is occupied. So you use again linear probing, go to the next location, go to the next location. So number of comparison is more. That effect is known as clustering effect. So to overcome that clustering effect, instead of f of I equal to I, we use f of I equal to I square. This is the open subject. You can suggest any other type of good hashing function. And because here we are talking of a linear array, suppose somebody say I'll not use linear array, I'll be using a linked list. So I'll develop a different type of hash function, function that helps me in the collision resolution. Now, this, if you look into that quadratic probing, the success ratio is that before trying to store the key value to the address, we have to fix the size of the hash table. The study or the theorem proving says, the alpha, the loading density, number of elements to be stored divided by n into s, that is number of locations, when that will be half. That means my table is a 10 cross 10 table. 10 addresses, 10 slots, so total location is 100, and I have 60 elements to store. So 60 is less than, so what will be the alpha value? Alpha value is 6 divided by 100. Okay, so in that cases, definitely it is not less than half. So again we are expressing, again we are landing into the clustering effect. Okay, so then here it try to take the example h of x. This is a hash function I square and mode, if that is not equal to the I2 j2, you can or you call it as a I square if you are quadratic function, or j square. So this is another approach that why we are going to have the experience that it will going to land the same problem. You are using quadratic probing, how the success is affected. And this is actually it's a mistake. This is actually a square. Okay, you are using two different the two different numbers, maybe third attempt and fourth attempt. Please try to understood, you are attempting third attempt and fourth attempt, and both, and so I value will be 3 and j value will be 4. And whenever this condition is appearing, this mode size is maybe your 10, you can test it with that. So that indirectly implies this I square mode size and j square mode size will be same. So definitely again it will be lead to the collision. Okay, I have changed the index. So then to overcome that, we are looking into this is particularly the quadratic probing and quadratic probing, and we find, and so that effect will be more. Initially we talk about the primary clustering, or I didn't name it as a primary clustering. This is the effect happens in linear probing. To overcome, we introduce a collision resolution techniques, that is quadratic probing. But quadratic probing, because of this property which just I have proved, there is a possibility that you will be landing into that. So that phenomena is known as your secondary clustering. Okay, that is known as your secondary clustering. Initial problem, clustering problem using linear probing is primary clustering, and this is your secondary clustering. Okay, to overcome that, we have to go for the different type of hash function. I am not discussing the theorems, even if it is a PG course, so I am skipping that one. If quadratic probing is used, the table size is prime, then a new element can always be inserted if the table size is at least half empty. So you remember this is as a condition or a statement. We are not discussing the theorem provings. That is summarized as the property as I say. The loading factor should be greater, I mean, the loading factor should be less than half. So that is the result of this theorem. Okay, and anybody is interested for the proof of that, it is subjected to the NUT. So another way to control the growth of the clusters. Growth of the clusters means number of times you are landing to the same location, or you are not finding where to store the key value. So that is, instead of using a one hash function, are you getting me? So instead of using one hash function, he tried to use a series of hash function. Why? Again, I'll go back to this. You see, if you are using the same hash function, there is a possibility that I square will be equal to I square will be I square mod size will be equal to j square mod size. So to overcome that, instead of, suppose there is a collision with first hash function h1, that means you got 11, you store it there, then you got the 21, and when you try the 21, you experience a collision that you lands into the same address. So earlier you have used h1 and you got a collision. Then next time, because if you will use linear probing, definitely any key records are stored, again you will be the same thing. So you use another hash function, that is h2. Whenever there is a collision, you use h2, otherwise you use h1. So the buckets hix, that I is the examined in the total order when you have got m number of elements whichever you can select. The table size m is greater than n, where n is the number of item to be inserted. N is always the number of item to be inserted. What we try to do, we are looking into a series of hash function, and whenever there is a collision, we'll be using the second hash function. If second has a problem, we'll use third hash function, so that we'll able to at least look into a single transformation. That means the clustering effect will be less, and we'll able to store at a unique address. But if you, while searching, what will happen? You try to generate an address with h1, you find that same record is not there. You have to try h2, you have to try h3. Some problem is there. So maybe that because the h1 you failed to locate your record. Let us say 11 and 21. h1 you use xmod 10 for 21, but 21 is not stored at that place. So, but after that you used h2 to store. So the retrieval is identical. I mean, again, you have to use h2. For small load factor, it says when there is very less number of keys to be stored or item to be stored, this is also good. Then this n by m is close to 1. So best choice for n by m, again it will be 0.5. What exactly try to say that before storing, sometimes it says you decided a ideal size of the hash table. Let us say you have a header file where you with help of that you are able to create the hash table. So what should be the size of the hash table? If you know I have 500 records, then you said, okay, I want to create a hash table. If it is only linear array type, then 1000 records I need. Okay, and when these are the experimental findings, if n by m is greater than 0.75, you can go for rehashing. Rehashing, I'll explain you what is the rehashing. That means the whole table will be destroyed. We'll select a second hash function, and all the key which is stored into the first hash table has to be stored to the second hash table. So you may ask why I have stored 50 keys and suddenly it is decided no, I'll rehash them. What is the benefit? The benefit is that when it is observed that the number of collision, clustering effect is more, clustering effect is more because we have to do same thing with retrieval also. Because if I'm storing with number of collisions, my retrieval will be costly. Suppose like you create a database or you create a table, and once you create, and maybe number of times people are performing searching only, and they query the table to retrieve something. So one effort is storing, but number of times the search is being carried out, that is more in number. So if you are finding that one, it is unnecessary slow down the system, or it is people are not happy because search takes more time. At that time we go for rehashing. That means first table we discard, whatever the key informations are with us, we take the help of the second hash function to do that. Okay, so build a second table twice as large. This is a very crude approach. Initially you have 10, hash table size is 10. Then when you are finding, and every time you are entering, very simple thing, you can calculate n by m. What is the m? M is the n is the m is the m is your, this is a loading factor. N is the number of key, m no, number of slot multiplied into bucket. For simplicity we are using that one. Okay, so this is SB. So suppose you have 50 keys and you have 200 slots, it's fine. Whenever the table is occupied, because continuously you are entering the keys, so you destroy the table. First you go for a table of double size. And why you need to destroy the table, you may ask, sir. Oh, because if you are storing with a particular collision resolution, even if you double the table, it will violate. So again remapping has to be done. You start with a size of 10. Once it is 70% occupied, you create a table of size 20 and again map them to the 20, because retrieval is the function which is to be encountered again and again, or which is dominating your insertion function. Okay, so this is a definitely this is rehashing is a expensive operation. First step is that you have to double the size. Again, after double the size, you have to again reinsert. So running time, if you have n number of keys, so every key is posted with one trial, let us say. So the running time is directly proportional to the number of keys you want to store. So this is example of the rehashing. If you look into, this is a linear table. You have 7 locations and I have to store 4 keys. So whenever I have to try store the 4 keys, and I am using, let us say, hash function is xmod 7. So xmod 7, and then when then we are using the simple mapping order as we have discussed. If the 23 is inserted into the table, the result in the table will be 70% full, right? And when the 70% full, this table size has to be doubled. Very simple thing, we doubled the table size. Earlier there are 7 locations, so now we double the table size, or 2.5 size. We can select depending on the rate at which the keys are coming. So again you have to remap. You see, this is the thing, 6 is goes to the first location. When I double it, then there is a question whether I'll continue with the same hash function or not. Answer is no, because you have to change your hash function, maybe which something is appropriate. So as I say, it is a good practice to use a hash function that is xmod m, and m is trying to be the prime number, and that prime number should be close to the, as close as possible to the table size. As we have 17 is the table size, we take 7, and maybe this is the approach. I have 7. If I have double it, the size becomes 14. So but 14 is not a prime number. Then I decided, why not I'll go for a uh, table which size is also a prime number, nearest to the 14. So 17 is preferred, and the hash function is xmod 17. Okay, so this is the mechanism of the rehashing. Rehashing can be implemented in several ways, and you have the choice. During that, you can go for linear probing or quadratic probing as a collision resolution technique. I mean, this is the best suitable depending on the what key value, growth of the file. Many things is to be considered. So one alternative is to rehash as soon as possible. The table is half full. It's a thumb rule. Other examines to rehash only when an insertion fails. Are you getting? You are continuously inserting. When it is half full, automatically rehash. And the second says, okay, you go on inserting whenever you are finding clustering effect will more, or you fail to insert a file, because you see, when I am inserting, I am experiencing collision, but my collision resolution technique is helping me to insert the item. But there are situations or examples are there where the collision resolution technique also failed to insert. I mean, some empty spaces are there, but you never land into that space because of the hash function. So third is the middle road strategy to rehash when the table reaches certain load factor. Maybe 70%, maybe 75, maybe 80, you rehash. So these are the three strategy. One has to select any one of them when to rehash. Since the performance does degrade as the load factor increases, when we talk about the performance, that is insertion as well as the retrieval, the third strategy is implemented with good cutoff could be the best strategy. This is the concluding remark of the rehashing. Okay, then comes the double hashing. As the name says, whenever there is a collision, whenever you fail to store that, you take up the help of the another hash function. You take the help of the another hash function. You look at this. This is the mathematical notation. Mathematical notation is used. Our collision strategy is f of I. Okay, your collision strategy is f of I. In case of linear probing, f of I equal to I. In case of quadratic probing, f of I is I square. Okay, but when we talk about rehashing, it's actually strategy that it may use linear probing, it may use quadratic probing. Now, the double hashing is the mechanism we use another hash function whenever I experience a collision. Okay, so initially we starts with, for this example, we starts with x mod 10 as the hash function, and we select second hash function as h2x is the second hash function, which is your x mod 9. Okay, this is equal to, let us say, x mod 9. Okay, now if I try to store 89, it's fine, no problem. If I try to store 18, no problem. If I try to store 49, okay, please look into this. If I try to store 49, I land to 9. So I experienced a collision. So I take the help of this one. I value is, so I experienced a collision with, what is that number? 49. So what will be the h2x value then? What is the h2x value?
4.
4. 49 divided by 9.
4.
4. So 4 multiplied I value is 1.
1.
4 multiplied with I value is 1. So your earlier number was 49. 49 plus 4. What you got?
53.
53.
3.
So 53 mod is gives you this location. No. So you are finding x mod 9. My key value is 49. What will be 49 mod 7? What is the value? 49 mod 7.
Mod 9, sir, I think.
9 you said, no?
Sorry, for 49 mod 9.
4.
So 4.
So 4. So 4 will be multiplied with 1. That is 4 again. Okay. So initial value, I mean hash x value, what you obtained? What is the hash value? Hash value you obtained? The hash value what you obtained previously was 9. 9 will be 4 will be 13. 13 mod 10 is 3. So it has to go to this place. Right. I think this is x mod 7. I need to check it. Are you getting me? Suppose I operate with x mod 9. Okay, x mod 9 will give me 4, and I'll use this fi as I, that is where this is a first attempt. So 1 multiplied with 4. So 4 will be here, and this has x. Initially I obtained, this is a has x. Initially I obtained with the value is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 mod 10. 13 mod 10. So 13 mod 10 will give me
3.
3. So it has to be stored here, 49. Okay. I have to check the second hash function which is being used. Maybe I'll just clarify. I have to check. Maybe I have written copy wrongly this x mod 9 or something I am missing. I'll clarify. But we conclude like this: we are using a second hash function, and instead of I or I square, we compute a hash value, and that will be added to store the results. Maybe I need to check. Okay. Now we'll come to the double hashing. Those in case of double hashing, this is the another example. If you not consider this one, we are using a hashing second hash function. Here the hk will be k mod 7 and gk will be 5 minus k mod 7. And you may ask how it is to be decided. So these are the actually the findings, or whenever people are designing a collision resolution technique, they design the second hash function uh, based on sometimes in the experience or sometime by using basic properties. So this is the example 76. You can trace it to with a k mod 7. The when that first is the 76. So k mod 7 is very simple. It goes number 6. Then you try with 93. Then you try with 40. So 40, can you try with 40 mod 7? What will be the remainder?
5,
5.
sir.
It is 5. So this is stored without collision, right? Then comes 47. 47 mod 7. 47 mod 7.
5.
5.
5. So 5 is occupied. Yes. 5
Yes,
period
sir.
occupied. So if you try to compute that, so if you try to compute that one, try with the gk. That is 5 minus now your k mod 5. The k mod 5 is the particular key value. So we attempt this is 47 mod 5. 47 mod 5, and you can check. This is the way we apply a second hash function to do that. Okay, but that table is due to me. I'll clarify that one. So the separate chaining is an open hashing technique. Open hashing techniques means is very simple. We are looking into a particular address which capable of storing one record or one key. So here those who are synonymous means a hash of A4 is equal to hash of A3 equal to hash of A1 equal to hash of A2 equal to hash of A. Something similar to the 11, 21, 71, 51, 41 like this. Okay. Then if I am going for a table which dynamically grows according to the available of the key value, so that mechanism is a separate chaining. But this is a confusing sometimes. This is open hashing. Closed hashing, table size is not expanding. In open hashing, table size can be expanded. We have seen that the linear probing performs poorly because of the search for the identifier involves the comparison. These are certain drawbacks. Unnecessary comparison can be avoided if all synonymous. This word I think will be meaningful. We can say any two key to be synonymous corresponding to a hash function h if h of x1 is always equal to is equal to h of x2, or h of x1, x2, x3 all are equal. They are put it where one list per bucket, and as the size of the list is unknown in advance, because when number of students are joining, you have a coding scheme, you cannot predict that the key which you transform to the hash function will generate the same address. It is best way to use the linked list, or we can call it as a linked chain, where the actual information goes. And each chain has a head node, and head node is stored sequentially. That is, head node carries the information to indicate that these all four members A4, A3, A1, A2, A are synonymous. This is a simple example. So sometimes you can find, when you look into the average length or what is the size of the total storage space, it has a advantage. Okay, so then there is called hashing by chaining. I mean, that is whatever we talk about the separate chaining, or some we call it the same as the hashing by chaining. You look into that, the hash table has a pointer, goes like this. Okay, the pointer goes like this, and if I try to find out the synonymous, then I first land here, then I'll go to this location. So sometimes we call it as a direct chaining. That's why what I tried to explain, like B plus and other things, when the number of records can be goes to same address. If you look into a unique address which is capable of storing 6 records or 8 records, we can use this mechanism, but there is also a limitation. We cannot extend the link infinite, because our constraint is the secondary storage. Okay, so these are synonymous. Sometimes people got confused. That is, separate chaining is a open hashing technique, and sometimes they call it as a hashing by chaining or the direct chaining. Okay, so now mostly all the data structures are being characterized by insertion, deletion, or search. Three things: traversal. Traversal is the function because we want to search something. Insert, deletion is obvious. So this is the concluding remark of the hashing by chaining operation. If you are looking for an arbitrary key value, what you need to do, you have to compute the h of k and overflow list, that is T of hk. Because if you are not finding in the primary location, if you can find the key in the overflow location. Overflow list is nothing but the another area where the things are stored. Imagine that you have two warehouse, and whenever you got the item, it generates a rack number where the item has to be put. Okay, but if that location is occupied, you use a thumb rule, you will not put the item into that warehouse. Warehouse number 1 you used to put. Even if the space is available in warehouse number 1, you decide a very simple strategy. I'll not select a hash function. I'll use the same logic, and I'll try to put in the another room or another storage area. Okay, that's way logically, if we'll look into the disk space, I don't know how you have information about that. That is, when we go for indexing that, there is a primary area. There is a primary area in disk, and there is a overflow area that disk. Anybody has heard of this thing? Overflow area. Idea is like this: if you are trying to store into one location, if that location is occupied, we are not trying to take the help of any collision resolution technique. Rather than we move to another location. Okay, so that is, I mean, we logically, when the disk is manufactured or designed, so it try to reserve the two area. It try to reserve the two area. That is the overflow area. That is, whenever there is a collision, we search or we store them in a overflow area. Okay, if possible, I'll also share the picture of that. And that I have learned from operating system, a book called DITLE. That is the secondary memory management, where this overflow area is used, because the index has to be created for the database, for the file on the file system or on the top of direct access storage device. Okay, even the hashing is also application to that. This is a device specific. all the game is in between main memory and secondary memory. Okay, so this is the operation. Insert a key. If lookup fails, first you search for the key. If the key is not available, then you insert. So that means you are looking, then insert k into the overflow list. Delete a key. Lookup k is successful. So that means the key is there. Then remove the key from the lookup overflow list. So this is the operation, how the basic operation. Maybe sometimes you'll be asked to write down the ADT or abstract data type of a hash function. Then imagine that initially it's a representation. Only we talk of insertion and deletion. Then comes functions like collision resolution. Within collision resolution, you have different type of function. That's why on that class, when I talk about ADT of a hash table, how many functions you should include. Okay, everybody should write how many functions you need to perform all these operations on a single data structure which is logically proposed, or maybe which is available with Java or Python. Try to check that how many functions are there. Okay. So this is the last slide. The analysis of the direct chaining techniques. So sometimes it is coming to two terms, that is successful search and unsuccessful search. So all hash addresses are choose with the same probability, that there is equally likely, independent from the operation to operation, the average length, and you know how, and the m value, how do you calculate, and the cn. This formula only just to remember for problem solving. Expected number of entries inspected during failed search or unsuccessful search, and expected number of entries in a successful search. So this is related to the formula. You need to remember that only, so that we can look into the problem solving. So we'll be continuing with the direct chaining, because there are some this you need to remember. We are not going to prove the theorems. So your alpha equal to n by b is the loading density, where the slots and buckets are equal, or it will be n by sb. So for linear probing, you have two terms, as I say, un and sn. N corresponds to when you have n number of key to be stored. So here b probability. These are the formula for linear probing and rehashing, random probing. All this formula is credit to the notes book. None of the book explained of their own. They refer to the notebook regarding this formulation. So if it is mentioned that your table size is given and loading density, otherwise loading density is given, or table size given, number of key to be stored, you can calculate the alpha. You look into all this formula, alpha will be n divided by sb, and then you will be asked simply to calculate the time or number of probe required for successful search or unsuccessful search. Okay, that's all from my side.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Are these formulas, are there,
Yes.
I mean, any numericals related to this formula?
Yes. Yeah, I'll explain one or two examples. If you look into the Sahani book, any of you have gone through Sahani book, the hashing chapter? If you'll have got a chance, please look into the exercise problems. I mean this book. Is it visible, the first book? Haroui, Sahni and Mehta.
Yes, sir.
Now it is not with Galgotia publication, it is with another publication. Just that remembering, but I'll have check on my desk. Now I think it is with University Press. Okay, so I told number of times about this book. You can find template and others, and in particular it will be good if you will refer to the hash hashing portions from this book. I'm particularly referring these two books for the hashing function, that is Markland Bees and this Harish Sahani. And following this, we have one section that is called dynamic hashing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please. Bolo.
Sir, when you are at 8, can you please clearly say when should we go for B3 and when should we go for B plus 3? As you have altered what all we learned till now.
Mhm. No. You see, this is a index structure actually. We learn, yes, the way you learn, I also learn like this. Okay. And when in the gradually it progress, when we come to a real-time application in the database, when the B plus 3 and others are appeared, this is the index. Suppose Oracle allow you the index. So Oracle uses a B plus 3. Okay. And how can you ignore the secondary storage when you try to store? Right. If a particular location is capable of storing 10 ton and you are coming with 12-ton goods, what should I say? You keep 10 ton at one location, remaining you put in the other location. So there is a wastage of 8-ton space. So these all are related to the storage where I am using, and I don't have any application where it use B3 or B plus 3 only in the main memory without relating to the secondary storage. This is the problem, because even if I refer to a good book which explains B3 or B plus 3, it just explains you are not a computer science student. Anybody can study, huh? Just some technique you are learning, inserting, deleting. If this number is not there, move to the left, move to the right. Just to tell me one honest thing, if this thing could have been taught to you without studying the BTech, is not it possible? We can teach these things to a class 10 student who have absolutely no idea about computer. Tree can be taught, yes or no? Just to tell me, do you need anything for computer background to that tree should be taught to you? Tree can be taught to any person. People are learning the tree. People are from mathematics also learning the tree. But where is computer science? You keep computer science in one bucket and tree is another bucket. So from where, Susri, from where you have learned this thing, B plus tree and B tree?
Sir, actually, during
Which
my
book?
gate preparation, I got this document, sir.
Acha, okay. No, why? I'll name few books where you'll be finding this type of things. You see, for me, what computer science student can do or learn, others should not, because we are not peeping to the area of mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. Even if they learn tree, computer science people are different, because we are not peeping into how a automobile engineering works, but they know C programming. We also know C programming. But when a solution is required on the top of a computer, we are going to provide the solution because we know inside of that. Okay, so I'll 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 show something from where I have learned. Also, I am going to tell you. We were being taught from a book called Loomis, Data and File Structure from Loomis. It is from Prentice Hall of India. A tree, it's good. We can go for any other book, but Sahani book is the only book which talks about how it is related or the practical things. Markland is also good, but it is also explained without referring to um, secondary storage, but it is mathematically good. It calculates average case analysis for searching and the growth of the tree rate, and sometimes it explains how you will select the index structure, whether AVL tree is good or binary search tree is good or linear array is good or B tree is good. AVL tree you have read, na? So Sri, AVL tree you know?
Yes, sir.
So what is your experience? Something to remember? Then
Yes, sir.
what is the any application for AVL tree? You tell me. Any application? Anybody can suggest any
Application,
application?
sir, I don't know. I just
Anybody can share AVL tree application?
sir, what
Yes.
I know is it is a binary tree with height restriction. That's all I know
Uh,
about AVL tree.
so you see there are certain application where AVL tree fails. I mean binary tree fails. Then we go for the AVL tree. You know when we deal with the symbol or symbol tables during compilation, okay, and like suppose you are defining a variable starts with AB, ABA, ABC, ABD like that. Okay, so AVL tree is the data structure which is used to maintain those user defined variables so that it can be searched during compilation. Okay, when I am looking into a syntax, you have written AB, AB plus CA. Whether AB and CA is defined, let us talk into about C language. How can I know? I have to search faster. I have to search fast. So I have two choice. Can I use hash table? Can I use the AVL search tree? The limitation of AVL is only created in main memory. Though its performance is good, it has a limit. For less number of keywords, AVL is performed. Okay. So if you look into the search performance of binary search tree and the AVL is better. But the limitation is that it can be only works in the primary memory. We can store only few items. If items grows, we cannot manage it in main memory. When item grows, I cannot manage. But if I try to create a index structure, I can store them into secondary memory also. Let us say I have a database of 1000 records and I am using B plus tree. Am I creating in main memory? No. Initially, it is created the index stored in the disk. Okay, there are a lot of illusions, huh? But none of the book explains that. I agree. We learn from a book called Raja Raman, but most of the books they try to uh, explain just mathematically with a diagram. My observation without computer science that can be also learned. So why to get a degree in computer science? So somewhat, I mean, you people have to explore that there is a application which demands that data structure. What is that application? So all the trees, if you look into a good book, they appear with a title called search structure. Tree word is not being used. Search structure or index structure. And within that, you will be finding all the trees and ending with the hash table. Start with the tree, ends with the hash table. Because hash is the fastest searching technique. And why we are looking for that? Because problem solving is nothing but searching. If I try to represent a solution space, which data structure I'll select? If I'll select a hash table, definitely my search will be faster. But none of all problems is not permitted to arrange them into a hash. Like look into the dynamic programming, you have to arrange them in a graph. So you don't need a graph search technique. Okay, maybe you are arranging them into tree, two-way tree, three-way tree, or four-way tree for backtracking and branch and bound. So solutions are at the leaf node. So I need a search technique. I need a traversal technique. Okay. Okay, I'll share some details if you are interested for the tree. Okay. So sorry again. Again the convocation meeting yesterday it was not completed. I have to join back. Huh? Okay. Thank you. If you have any requirement, specific requirement, just to mail me or put the query. I'll arrange and I'll post to you or I'll address this individually. Okay, thank you. I'm
Thank you.
closing the class.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So tomorrow we'll have the class, right, at as usual time?